Well, we are talking about elections, but this time in Tamil Nadu. They are approaching fast, and Chief Minister Stalin has now reignited the Dravidian identity pitch, escalating attack on the centre over Hindi imposition. Stalin has turned the electoral battle upcoming into an Aryan versus Dravidian war. The Tamil Nadu Chief Minister has said that 2026 will be another form of Aryan-Dravidian war and that the state won't bow down to Delhi's hegemony. He added that Tamil Nadu loves its language as its very lifeblood and Tamilians are united in this fight against Hindi imposition. He also stated that no more lives be lost in this language struggle. And here's why Stalin is banking on this identity pitch. By framing the election as a fight for Tamil dignity and identity, Stalin is drawing a parallel with Tamil Nadu's history of anti-Hindi agitations from the 1960s, further reinforcing the regional identity and linguistic pride. By raising the emotional pitch through an identity-based narrative, he's aiming to reduce the damage from governance issues as an incumbent. The narrative positions the DMK as the sole defender of Tamil language and state autonomy against external forces. And this narrative is also key to the election plank now because they have to counter, quote, BJP's Hindutva-led ideology and politics. But will it work? Here's why it may and why it may not. While it reinforces a distinct cultural and linguistic identity, portraying Tamil Nadu as a unique entity resisting cultural assimilation, many voters are shifting this focus from the pan-Dravidian ideology towards a more direct Tamil nationalist politics, which may not align perfectly with the DMK's pitch. The narrative historically challenges the quote-unquote Brahminical dominance, which is a key vote bank strategy for the DMK, but it also seen as promoting divisive caste politics, especially in 2026. It's deeply embedded in the political fabric of the state, no doubt, giving the DMK a long-term ideological foundation, but a significant portion of the electorate today, particularly younger voters, may prioritize over a developmental and economic growth pitch over historical arguments. And as I said, this is a debate of the 1960s. Does it still need to be beaten? And is it like beating a dead horse in today's day and age? That debate is coming up. Will the Dravidian identity politics really help the DMK in the upcoming elections?
அவங்களுடைய தாய்மொழி அழியாதது ஹிந்தி போகிறதுனால இன்னைக்கு அவங்க தாய்மொழி காணாம போயிடுச்சு.
We need to understand that both Aryan and Dravidian, how are you going to differentiate? Are they not part of India? Are they not the legacy of India?
देखिए जैसे जैसे चुनाव नजदीक आ रहे हैं ना, वैसे वैसे स्टालिन ये हिंदी का विरोध करते करते हिंदू का विरोध करने लगे, हिंदुस्तान का विरोध करने लगे.
कोई भाषा का स्थान किसी समाज में है या नहीं है, न कोई ये दल तय करता है, न कोई ये नेता तय करता है, वो लोग तय करते हैं.
Kalyan Raman, leader of the BJP in Tamil Nadu, and Salim Dharanidharan, spokesperson of the DMK, joining us. I do thank you both for your time. Salim, beginning with you, there is no talk really of development anymore. There is no talk of law and order, of governance issues. It seems the DMK is feeling like it's only identity politics that can save them this election season.
What makes you say that? My chief minister is someone who always speaks of development and what he has done for the people. It is the BJP which does identity politics. Okay, once in a while, if my CM makes something on those lines, it's very unfair to make it as if it's identity. No.
No, but aren't you flogging a dead horse? I mean, how many times is a party supposed to win an election only on the basis of quote-unquote Hindi imposition, something that hasn't even been established, that there is any Hindi imposition?
No, you have to understand the context. Yesterday, 25th of January, since 1957, the party is celebrating, it's not celebrating, party is doing protest on Hindi imposition since 1957. So it was made in that context. My chief minister always speaks about the development. There is no need for us to go and only look into identity politics because we have given extraordinary governance. In all metrics, Tamil Nadu has improved in comparison from 1916 to 21. If you look now, Tamil Nadu has improved in all metrics. That's what the data shows. Whoever is watching your show, if they go and Google the data also, they can see in all aspects, industrial growth, financial health, law and order, social welfare schemes, everything, the Tamil Nadu has improved. So what more can be shown? This is my chief minister
So
reiterated this time
why
and
does
again.
this upcoming election then need to be positioned as Aryans versus Dravidians? Why should it matter today? I mean, if anything, even if it's your belief, I know Aryan invasion theory is very well contested. There are both kinds of views on this, but I'm not going into that. Even if, let's say, there is an Aryan theory to be believed, what relevance does it have in today's day and age? I mean, this is seen as race politics, if nothing else. But let Kalyan Raman come in.
No, it's
Kalyan
not
Raman?
race politics.
I'll come back to you, Salim. Yes, Kalyan Raman.
They don't have anything to talk and convey as a narrative to the common man in the society. So they want to bring it back the emotive issues of the 60s or even prior to that. They were toying with the idea of anti-Hindi, anti-North, anti-whatever, anti-Brahmin for that matter, anti-Hindu. All these were the forte of Dravidian movement starting from 1906 until they assumed power. Now today, let us look at the basic factor. What is this Aryan Dravidian race theory? The DMK men are usually having no knowledge about what is Aryan, what is Dravidan and all. Dravidam essentially means three-side sea. Even 2,600 years back, Adi Shankara says, I come from the land of Dravida. I am a Dravida Sishu. That is what he says 2,600 years back. This information or this knowledge is completely absent in the DMK dispensation or the so-called Dravidian dispensation. Say they don't understand. Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, calls her husband as Aryaputra. That means noble. For her, he was noble. Even as late as 1920, Mahakavi Bharati says Arya Bhumi. Even for that matter, the Tamil Thai Vayathu, these fraudulent DMK had discreetly omitted the term Arya. So the Arya is a connotation for nobleness. Dravida is the regional geographical identity. If this is not known to them and they fell for the narrative set by the Britishers at that time in order to create a fight between the Brahmins and rest of the people saying that the Brahmins are Aryans, if they don't simply understand, I have always asked the Dravidian dispensation that do you fix a date of the so-called Aryan invasion, Aryan migration into India? So far, they have never been able to do it. I have been talking about it since my college days, where I studied in a Dravidian college. The Dravidian college, all the professors, history professors were all the so-called Dravidian professors. I used to ask them, can you identify? As a student of history, you have to fix a date and time of the so-called migration. They were never able to do that. Even to the extent I used to stop them talking nonsense in the form of Aryan Dravidian race theory, because there is nothing called Aryan Dravidian race theory. Now, coming to the question of Stalin speaking about Aryan Dravidian race theory, they don't have absolutely anything to convince the common man of Tamil Nadu. Now they are trying to find a way how they can convince people through emotive issues like Aryan Dravidian race theory, Hindi imposition, North-South divide, dominance by the central leadership, central government. These are the factors on the basis of which they are trying to convince the common man.
Hindi imposition is one thing, central hegemony is also one thing, and even if you were to say that there is some Brahminical hegemony, I give that also. You could say there's a social cause to be fought for. But Salim, the term used by the Chief Minister here is Aryans versus Dravidians, and he has termed it as a war. Now, is that not unfair as a pitch when you're talking about an election in Tamil Nadu? I mean, what does this mean? I mean, this is now reminding me of the statement that Udinidhi Stalin made, that you have to eradicate Sanatan Dharma and comparing it to mosquitoes and, dengue and malaria and corona. Because, this is a mindset which is not of a modern India, plus it promotes enmity. When you pitch it as an Aryan versus Dravidian war, war means what otherwise?
See, you have to look into the context. We are not going to the context. It was spoken in Kanchipur, the language, Matthew's day. on
Still.
commemorating those who died in the anti-Hindi agitation. That is when this remark was made. So he was making about the sacrifice made by them, and then the fact is that we will oppose any centralizing tendencies. What we are trying to say is India is nothing but unity in diversity, right? People of different cultures and identity, language exist in India.
But
So
then
if that
why
one
create a narrative against quote unquote Aryans? Why create a
no, you
narrative
have to
against
see.
quote unquote
You can't just
Brahmins?
take one
They're
line.
also part of this unity in diversity, right? Even if you believe the Aryan theory, then you can't say this
they
is an
won't
Aryan
answer. They
versus
won't
Dravidian
answer to such
war.
a
Now,
fairer
I
question.
began by
see.
saying, I can understand political criticism on Hindi, central hegemony, funds, even Brahminical patriarchy, whatever you want to call it. But this is effectively a race war. And if you are going to use this as a war, how can you criticize any other political party in India who may say, oh, so and so religion came to India as a conquest, for example, that this is foreign, so therefore we are not going to accept it in India. What does this mean?
No, you're not letting me complete. The context in which it was made is that there is the present union government which is trying to centralize power to bring about homogeneity in the pluralistic Indian society. The BJP's approach is that there should be only one language, one culture, one
Where did
food,
Aryans come into
one
this? Please
religion.
respond to that. I understand your political opposition to the BJP.
See, you're
Where
not
did
letting me
Aryans versus
see.
Dravidian come into this?
See, if you want me to just speak what you want me to speak, how will I speak? I've been speaking 10 seconds and I'm interrupted. I'm speaking for 10 seconds, I'm interrupted. How can I even make an argument when I'm not even let to complete?
You've explained me the context 3 times. Please move on from that.
For example, delimitation, whereby giving power to the north of India, where it's to a handful of 6 states, right? That is whereby making south of India politically irrelevant is nothing but destroying the south or destroying the Dravidian regions. I will tell you how. If delimitation comes into play, 25 parliamentarians representing from south of India will reduce from 25% to 17%, and only handful of states such as Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, etc., the number of seats will increase from 30% to 50% or 55%, which means that you don't need to win any seat in south at all. By winning a handful of seats in those 6 states, the party will be
So
BJP
you
will be
have
able to come to
condemned
power.
all of North India as Aryans who are not to be accepted in Tamil Nadu.
Yes.
I
Correct,
am
correct.
not
This is what
condemning anyone.
this is what I am figuring out from what you're saying. Delimitation is an issue which is there in Andhra also, Karnataka also, Kerala also. They are not saying this is North Indians versus South Indians or Aryans
No
versus
one is saying North
Dravidians.
Indian versus South Indian. No one is saying we are against them. But when you make one region or one, I'm saying when I clearly said India is people of different cultural identity living together. So if you make people in those states control the elections, and if you make all the money go there, which is also there as per the then what does it mean? Basically, you're taking money from the south of India and giving
Why can't you
to
just say
the
that?
north.
Why do you have to say Aryans versus Dravidians, which will of course be
This is
taken
actually
in
the
what is
same.
the
This is the
historical
same.
context
What
of
I
it?
said is actually the
Kalyan
same.
Raman, I'll give you final 30 seconds, sir. 30 seconds.
See, as I said, they don't have any narrative. So now they're a bundle of contradiction. Now they were talking about Aryan Dravidian race theory, which is irrelevant to the existing day today, whether it is the memorial day of martyrs or the forthcoming election. There is no relevance to it. But then they want to talk about it. The moment you question them, they jump onto delimitation. The moment you question delimitation, there is no delimitation as such happening. Nothing notified so far. Still, they want to have that ghost in their imagination.
Okay.
If you start questioning that there is no ghost coming up, then they will jump onto something else. This is now they will talk about 3,000 some crores of money having not been paid
My
under
simple point is, if
SSA.
Aryans are to be portrayed as enemies in any one part of India, then what stops other political narratives that may portray another section of modern India, but that came from overseas, as also enemies in India? But that politics is back, but Aryans versus Dravidians is okay in today's day and age.
Shivani, you are
We are
putting
told
saner questions to
we are
insane
told
elements.
history is continuous, right? That's what a certain ecosystem historians say. Then
See,
how can you keep
you are
harping on
raising
Aryans
saner
versus
questions.
Dravidian?
Saner questions are not to be addressed to insane ideology like Dravidian philosophy or Dravidian ideology. It was a creation of Britishers, so it will hold on to that Imagine that
Okay.
72% of Tamil population are reading or learning English as a primary language. Tamil has got something like 20%. This is a very unfortunate situation to which they have pushed us into. The
Okay,
same
I have to
Dravidian
leave it
party
at that.
has
Whether
put
this will work or not is really the question, but we'll maintain an eye on the 2026 elections. I do thank our guests for joining us.